Hey guys, we're going to try this one more time because I've tried recording this video a couple of times and I keep going over the time limit that I know will let me upload on Facebook. So I think I'm just going to have to start planning to live stream one video on Facebook and then do the rest on YouTube and Instagram because Facebook doesn't like me posting long videos. I don't know what the deal is. Anyways, so this is things that take up space in my brain, part 18. Um, our doctors around here have this thing that I half understand, half don't understand. This is for context of the story, where even if sometimes you just have a bonk on the head or you have a little bit of a wheeze and a cough with a cold or something like that, if you have a wheeze, they will basically almost instantaneously say, oh, you're in respiratory distress, you need to go to the emergency room. Like if you call them on the phone to set up an appointment, they're like, hey, what's going on? And you're like, oh, I have this, and wheeze. And this was way before COVID and as well. Or if you like bonked yourself on the head or something like that, or your child did, and you're like, hey, I'm wanting to bring them in because, this one thing, I just want to make sure that they're fine, they don't have any symptoms of anything else. They instantly go, you need to take them to the emergency room. And you're like, okay, I can't bring them in to make sure that something's actually wrong first. No, you need to take them into the emergency room. It could be this, it could be this, it could be this. You're in respiratory distress, whatever. It drives me crazy. And honestly, I'm just going to start going to like a quick care or an urgent care instead of calling the pediatrician in those moments. Because most of the time, all that I want is for a doctor to say, no, you're cool. And me to go, okay, cool, thank you. Or for them to say, oh yeah, you're doing this and this. You just need to do this and you're fine. Anyways, all of that vent kind of beginning to this story to say. One more important fact is this was before my daughter was diagnosed with her allergies, which my daughter is like her mama and has a whole heck of a lot of allergies that were undiagnosed for many years. And we were constantly taking her in and they were constantly like, she's got a cold, she's got a cold, she's got a cold. And I was like, no, she doesn't, no, she doesn't, no, she doesn't. And we finally got it sorted out, found out she had allergies. She's doing much better now. So this was within that time of still trying to figure out why she was constantly stuffy. And me not believing that it was cold, which, surprise, surprise, it turned out it actually wasn't. Sometimes you got to go with your gut. Most of the time, I 100% will say listen to your doctors. Occasionally, you kind of got to go with your gut and push a little bit. Anyways, during that time, Sarah got a wheeze. We called the pediatrician. The pediatrician said, you need to take her to the emergency room. It sounds like she is in respiratory distress. And we were like, oh, okay. This was our first time taking one of our children to the emergency room. So as new parents, we had a toddler and a baby, and we were like, oh my gosh. So we actually both went. I don't remember how Pete had the day off or if he took the day off to help with the baby. I'm not 100% sure. Oh my goodness, it's getting dark super quick. Anyways, so we head out to get her seen. We go up to the emergency room. We get into like the first initial intake room within probably like 20-30 minutes. They're looking at her. Wouldn't you know it, her wheeze is already getting better. Okay, well, whatever. Hopefully we can get seen soon before it's completely gone so that they can actually correctly diagnose her. Well, then we wind up sitting in the waiting area for another 2 hours, which in comparison to a lot of larger cities and areas is not bad. For our area, it's actually pretty long, but it's the emergency room and life happens and they're kind of trying to save lives. So you can only get so upset. Anyways, we sat there for a while. Our kids were getting super restless. My husband had left. I think he took my son with him at one point anyways to kind of get him out of there. But Sarah's a toddler. She's getting restless and fed up. And I'm just like, I really wanted to take her to see her doctor, but they said that we needed to come to the ER. And now she's feeling better. Did I do the right thing? So I'm having this inner turmoil of, did I even do the right thing? Should I just not have worried about this? And so eventually, like about 2.5 hours after we got there, so we did the intake and then we sat in the emergency room, we go back and we get a room and we sit there for like another 20 minutes and they're busy. Okay. And I was not unaware that they were busy, but I definitely didn't communicate well when I went out to the nurse and was kind of like, hey, like, do you think the doctor's going to be able to come in and see us soon? Because, like, my kids are getting really restless and I'm thinking we might just need to leave. And the look that that gal gave me was just are you freaking serious right now? Like, what? Like, and you could just tell it had been a rough day. Like, everyone was just busy in that area. And what I intended to say, this video is going to be too long for Facebook. Anyways, what I intended to say was something to the effect of like, hey, my kids are getting restless. My daughter seems to be feeling well. To be perfectly honest, we're exhausted. We've been waiting a while. I know you guys are busy. Should we still say and have her seen, or would it just be better for us to leave and come back if this persists? Like, it was just one of those. And at that point, within that time frame, there was no more audible wheeze. Her audible wheeze was completely gone. So the nurse was very professional, though, even though I could tell she was definitely a little bit irritated. She was extremely professional, and she was just like, we're busy. I'll have the doctor in to see you as soon as I can. I can't make any promises. And I was kind of like, all right. And I went back to the room. And really what it came down to was I was tired and frustrated, and I didn't communicate well in that moment, and I should have communicated better. So it's on me. But the doctor came back, and I'm pretty sure that was actually when my daughter wound up getting her nebulizer. And we found out later that if my daughter doesn't get her allergy shots, if she goes too long without her allergy shots, even to this day, she will get a wheeze. And she'll need a nebulizer, or now sometimes she'll have to use an inhaler occasionally. Very rare, and it's only if she's not getting her allergy shots. So, yeah, that was definitely a time when I was probably a bit of a jerk without meaning to be. So to all the nurses and doctors out there, period, but especially the emergency room ones, I just want to say I'm sorry, because I know that I'm one of those moms that if I even think something is wrong with my kids, I will bring them in to be seen. And if my doctor says you need to go to the emergency room, even if there's a part of me that's like, you really don't need to take your kid to the emergency room for this, I will tend to go to the emergency room because my doctor told me to, or bring my kid into the emergency room because my doctor told me to, and I trust their medical knowledge. So I am sorry to any of the doctors that I have wasted their time or that someone else has wasted their time. You guys are doing amazing things, and the nurses and the CNAs and I don't even know all the different positions that there are, but I know that there's a lot and that you all are amazing. But yeah, that I was definitely, that definitely pops into my head periodically, where I just kind of look back and I'm like, I totally could have communicated that better, which seems to be majority of the stories that I tell on here. We'll get into some eventually more of like other people kind of doing that type of stuff to me. Instead of me always being the one to do it to other people. But the ones where I do it tend to take up more space in my brain than the ones where other people do it to me. Anyways, that is things that take up space in my brain, part 18. I hope you have a fantabulous day. Remember that life is way too short not to share your weird, wacky, crazy, silly, cringy, whatever types of stories. And I love you. Bye.